What's up, guys? Welcome back to Newswave. Well, yesterday, Nintendo dropped their 3-minute trailer for The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. It appears to be their last big push for the game, which is coming out now in less than a month, and the internet got incredibly hyped over it. There's a lot of stuff in there to go over, and I gotta say it feels like it's gonna be a long 30 days or so leading up to launch. We'll go over that here today. Also, we are going to be talking about Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, as we did get a new release date for it. It's just a lot further away than I was expecting. And we'll also be talking about this interesting project that was ongoing inside Microsoft that kind of has people wondering if they could even release their own gaming handheld. Guys, if you enjoy this video, make sure you hit that like button. Helps out a ton. And if new here to the Spawn Wave channel, make sure you subscribe down below as we head towards 700,000 subscribers. And we're going to start today with another showcase that we have to look forward to next week, and that's for Street Fighter 6. We can see this posted up over on Gamatsu, where they say Street Fighter 6 showcase is set for April 20th. So they'll even have a pre-show that will start 30 minutes earlier, but the main show you want to tune in for will be 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern Time, and it will be hosted by Lil Wayne, which, okay, cool, they have developers there to share news on Street Fighter 6, details around World Tour, Battle Hub, Fighting Ground, and they also mention some big news at the end of the show. Again, the game coming out for PS5, PS4, Xbox Series, PC, Steam, June 2nd. But people are wondering what's the big news that they're going to reveal. I feel like it has to do with an open beta that's actually been teased and mildly leaked even from some people's, and that could be something that would happen later on this month. I don't think it's going to be, oh, it's live now, like as soon as the broadcast ends, nothing like that. But I think they'll give us a date that might be the following week and just get everyone set up to jump online and play Street Fighter 6. That's exciting stuff, but we've seen a lot of this game, and it just feels like people are getting really excited for a Street Fighter game again, which is awesome because, well, Street Fighter V certainly had its issues. Also, we did get a new trailer and release date for Immortals of Aveum, and you could see some of the trailer here. It was sort of a blend of story, cinematics, and then some of the gameplay, which it's sort of being described as Call of Duty with magic. I mean, it is from developers and games like Dead Space and Call of Duty, but when you look at some of the gameplay here, it is very fast-paced, but it also seems to remind me somewhat of something like Ghostwire Tokyo, because you are using like your hands right in front of you with different signals and signs and then shooting all kinds of magic everywhere. So it's sort of like Ghostwire Tokyo taken up several notches and just a lot more firepower is what we'll say there. But it is coming out July 20th, and I mean, it at least looks unique. This was originally unveiled to us during the Game Awards. It's part of like the EA Originals line, and it's a full single-player experience, so it's not one of those games where it's like, oh, live service multiplayer. Apparently, it's just going to be one full single-player run-through, and interesting concept, so I guess it's worth keeping an eye on. Again, that coming out July 20th. Oh, and we finally got the announcement that Ubisoft Plus was going to Xbox. In fact, it's available now at the price of $17.99 per month. Now, this gives you access to a large library of games from Ubisoft and also day one releases and stuff. It's basically their competitor to Game Pass, now existing on Xbox, although it is a bit more expensive and all this. But there is something kind of interesting about this, and we can see this posted up. This is over on Engadget, where they say Ubisoft Plus has multiple tiers, and it's making the premium option called Ubisoft Plus Multi-Access available to Xbox owners. So that means that you can jump between Xbox and PC with your save data, which is really cool. But on PlayStation, from what I've seen, it's sort of like this Ubisoft Plus Classics doesn't have all of the benefits and features of this Ubisoft Plus Multi-Access. So now that it's on Xbox, maybe it will also go to places like PlayStation. But if you've been waiting for it, after hearing some of the rumors, it is available now. And guys, with some of the quick news out of the way, let's get into the bigger stuff. Let's start right away with The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, a game that I've already been excited for, but definitely shot up my list of most anticipated titles that there's a lot I actually look forward to in 2023. But now, after that trailer, Tears of the Kingdom might be the top of the list, and you can see some of it here. The trailer itself came in just under 4 minutes long, and I was getting kind of flashbacks to that Breath of the Wild trailer that closed out that live presentation that Nintendo had in January, a couple of months away from when the Switch was going to launch. They showed us the release date for it, but that had that same epic feel to it. This, though, went to the next level because we haven't really seen much about anything with the story in Tears of the Kingdom. It's mostly been showing some of the world and then some of the gameplay mechanics. This was all about the story. There was a lot going on here with, we saw, of course, Zelda being prominently shown in this trailer. And then the main antagonist, the big bad guy, who's returning after actually a pretty long time kind of in the shadows. We'd have to go back to Twilight Princess, the last time that Ganondorf went up against Link and Zelda and made quite the entrance in this trailer, touting his own revival, basically saying you should bow down in front of me, be in awe at me returning. And again, everything I'm seeing here looks really good. More shots of things you can do with the Ultra Hand itself. There's like a wagon that was getting pulled along there, and a really nice touch having this remix of the original Legend of Zelda song. They did show off some of the newer champions, then also had some of the older champions that you encountered when you were doing the Divine Beasts in Breath of the Wild, and I do wonder if all that's gonna come together, one big culmination, big climactic scene where you're going up against Ganondorf. We also gotta look at how Link's arm got messed up there, and then of course Zelda falling into a pit with the big message towards the end of her asking Link to find her. So still a lot of questions here, and I'm sure the analysis videos are gonna take quite a while to get through because there's just so much stuff, a lot of clips out of context here and there. But again, it invoked that same kind of epic feel to it like we had with that Breath of the Wild trailer. I saw some people also going through the website, pointing some things out to go along with the trailer, which had to do with like the Sky Islands. For example, this over on Nintendo's site, and it's kind of been updated consistently over the last several weeks as we've been getting more and more information, but people are wondering, Link begins his journey on one of the many mysterious floating islands that have suddenly appeared in the skies high above Hyrule. It's there our hero will have to gain new abilities before returning to the surface world to begin his epic adventure, which that just reads to me like, hey, this is the Great Plateau area, and as soon as you get your abilities or like your glider or whatnot, then your big aha moment starts, which I assume is going to culminate in you jumping off of the island and doing the big swan dive to the ground. But certainly exciting stuff here. We are less than 1 month away from this game, and the hype levels are through the roof online, social media, YouTube, everywhere. And looking just at the one trailer itself from Nintendo on YouTube, #1 trending, over 3 million views immediately. So yeah, this is gonna be certainly a game that is looked through just with this one trailer and talked about all the way up to release, and then we'll discover all the other things Nintendo's been hiding throughout this entire limited, at least it feels limited, marketing campaign. But I'm excited. Look out for this one May 12th. Next up, let's talk about a delay that technically leaked early, but I feel like this is further out than we were really anticipating, and that has to do with Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. We can see this posted up over on their main Twitter account, where they say Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League will now launch on February 2nd, 2024. We have made the tough but necessary decision to take the time needed to work on getting the game to be the best quality experience for players. Thank you to our amazing community for the continued support, patience, and understanding. There is much more to share in the months ahead, and we look forward to seeing you in Metropolis next year. So we're essentially looking at roughly 9-month delay. I figured if they were going to delay it, it would have probably been still hitting that holiday deadline, basically like October at the latest. This being pushed all the way until February makes me think they might be trying to avoid some of the titles that are going to release in that time period. And you look at most likely a Starfield Spider-Man combo, we'll say in September. Yeah, that's gonna make it tough for Suicide Squad, considering we could probably see another Call of Duty show up in October, and then who knows what else. Nintendo, I'm sure, has their own plans as well. But it just seems like they say they're polishing it, but 9 months to polish when you were originally going to release it in May? It's just something about this situation doesn't add up. You feel like they're going to go back to the drawing board with certain aspects, but can they actually do that with what the core structure of the game is built around, which is multiplayer, games as a service? Even though they say it's not a games as a service, it has so many tropes of that entire build for a game with battle passes and cosmetics and gear score. This whole thing seems like they realized if they released it now, it's going to flop badly or just was not going to catch on just based on that reaction. So that's kind of how I'm viewing this. If I have to try to make sense of any of this thing is, well, we're going to push it out, but we're going to push it out even further because we want people to forget about their initial reaction to it. We'll show it again, maybe in October or November, maybe at the Game Awards even, and we'll show them a version of the game maybe that's just a better showing with, I said they should have just fought one of the superheroes like Flash, shown how that worked out, and then baked in more cinematics, and maybe made it feel a bit more unique than what they originally showed, which was you just kind of shooting purple circles and target spots on robots. So that's all I could think of. Push it out, hopefully people forget about it, reintroduce it, then push towards a launch in February. So we'll see what happens here, but at this point, it feels like they can't let this fail. It has taken up a lot of Rocksteady's time, so the game has to come out and hopefully at least hit a certain quality threshold, because otherwise, 8+ years of Rocksteady's development time pretty much down the drain. Next up, let's talk about an interesting project that was presented to Microsoft during Hackathon, which is where they let employees within Microsoft come up with ideas, ways to improve things like Windows, or really just something they come up with that might be a bit out of left field, but who knows, it could catch on and maybe Microsoft decides to run with your project. But one in particular was kind of interesting because it sort of coincides with a sector of gaming that is certainly gaining some momentum, and that has to do with handheld PC gaming. With what we've seen from these mobile chips and their capabilities, which continues to rise year over year, we're getting to the point where you're playing something like Elden Ring in handheld form off of a battery. The problem we run into, though, is Windows is just not really set up for that. If you have a Steam Deck, you go to like the desktop mode or you dual boot Windows on it, it's not great navigating around any of that with those controls. So when you see this posted up by Walking Cat, it's Windows handheld mode. This was for September 2022 with Hackathon. And a lot of this just comes down to, hey, let's make it so you can navigate around easier and treat Windows as if it were created for a Steam Deck, right? Kind of like how Valve did their own layer over Linux or their own Steam OS, really. And that way, you can navigate around, you can do things like launch PC Game Pass, EA Play, Epic Game Store, all of this without having to go to the taskbar and hope that you can line everything up or try to double tap an icon on that touchscreen. But from The Verge, they say the Hackathon project resulted in a setup experience where drivers and services are installed, the controller works, and there's a launcher to quickly launch games from different stores. It looks like super early work, and there's a long list of issues and optimizations that would be needed in Windows and the Xbox app for Microsoft to make this a reality. But look at this, the game shell there looks, saw that and said, that looks kind of like a Switch. It's really just a generic kind of work or proof of concept with a very generic looking device there in front of them. We did get a follow-up though over on Reddit, this on the Steam Deck community, where they say, I started this hackathon project and it didn't go much of anywhere, but this article uses wording to make it seem like it's something under development. Problem is, we just didn't have the right engineers do a lot of what we wanted to do in the short hackathon project timeframe. Maybe this odd article can help me pitch this to Microsoft again. There we go. Phil Spencer was very nice and tried to drive me to some people that could help, but everyone was tied up at the time. So unfortunately, based on some of the comments there, it just doesn't look like Microsoft necessarily ran with that hackathon project. But that being in September, we're starting to see more and more of these handhelds really catch on. The Steam Deck's the obvious frontrunner now, but then you see Asus show up with their ROG Ally, and you keep seeing players like Aya Neo just come out with, it feels like a new handheld every other week at this point. So yeah, it seems now with where we are with mobile technology, AMD certainly leading the pack with that currently, that people want to play these PC games on the go, or at least just have the option. And the fact that Steam is kind of front running that currently, setting up Steam Deck to work well with that handheld configuration, seems like Microsoft might want to jump on sooner rather than later and get Windows at least set up for it. I don't know if Microsoft will ever make a handheld that would fit alongside the Xbox, but I guess if the real focus is Game Pass, getting as many people to it as possible, to have a more expensive device that would play those games natively using Game Pass, and it would be set up with a controller and all this similar to the Steam Deck where you have, you know, your joysticks, your A, B, X, Y, all that. It's like, why not? You can throw it in there, and even if it loses money, if it's bringing people to Game Pass, maybe the numbers at the end work out. But let me know what you guys think about this, and if it will be helpful, especially if you have a Steam Deck, for Windows to maybe play a bit nicer with it when it comes to the controls. And in our last bit of news, let's talk about the state of play that aired yesterday. This is like 25 minutes or so, and it was indeed completely focused on Final Fantasy 16. I saw people who thought other things would be announced here, but they definitely honed in on this just being a Final Fantasy 16 state of play. And was it ever? I feel like I've seen a lot about this game now, and they say that there's still more to come, but just this state of play alone felt like they were spoiling quite a bit of it. Like, we have two different ends of the spectrum here. Tears of the Kingdom felt like we really hadn't seen much at all. Final Fantasy 16 feels like it's on more the Deathloop side, where we just keep seeing this game, but I'll admit it looks really, really good. Anyway, here's some of the state of play, and we can go over different points that were being pulled from this presentation, starting with this indeed being a true action RPG as described by Yoshi P himself, not turn-based, all real-time. They do have these massive icon battles, which was certainly I would say the big spot here in this entire showcase was just 5 or 6 minutes of these icons fighting against each other, kaiju scale, as people are describing it. You do have 3 different time periods for the main character, Clive, his teens, 20s, and then 30s, and it's gonna be sort of like flashbacks that you go through, and as all this happening and the story's progressing, the world will open up, different sections will. So I guess when you get to the end, maybe you can then go back to these different areas and 100% them or whatnot. You do learn abilities from icons for Clive, so I assume as you come across different ones like Shiva, you'll have ice ability and different things there, right? You do upgrade and unlock abilities, or you can let the game choose. They showed a skill tree, and I guess I can see why someone might just want to hold a button down and it just place them in recommended spots, because there was a lot going there, but also means there's plenty of customization. They have something called Timely Rings. This was shown during PAX East, but it's basically making the entire encounters that you go through, the battles, easier. Auto evade is one of them. I mean, I saw that, I said, okay, well, that does make it a bit easier to get past some of the enemies that can't actually hit you. They do have sort of this hub world area that's Cid's hideaway, and as you go through, you'll unlock and gain more progress. You can train, you have merchants, upgrades, side quests will be there. You can just socialize with other characters, and you will have Clive clashing with enemies and their dominance and their icons. So Clive, of course, they keep showing Ifrit. You will have that, but then others will have their own icons. You'll battle with them, and the icons will fight in it. Just seems like it's all building up to these massive, epic scale battles. I mean, there's really not that much else to say about Final Fantasy 16. It looks really good. The only disappointing thing is that they didn't drop the demo. I was kind of hoping they would. It seems like they will have a demo, but they're holding it until a couple of weeks from release, which that's how you get people really hyped up leading to launch, is let people play it somewhat early, an hour or two, right? And hey, maybe it's the opening part of the game and it just carries your progress over. Something Square's been doing quite a bit of, so I'm holding out for that, and it'll be a fun way to get June started maybe. I mean, there's a lot already happening. Consider the fact that we just talked about Tears of the Kingdom that in May, and then Final Fantasy 16 coming out about 40 days later, and then all the other games in between. 2023 quickly becoming a very impressive year in gaming, and we still have plenty of games to find out about for this year, so exciting stuff all the way around. And before we go to the comment of the day, we're gonna take a look at the poll that I posted up yesterday, where I asked, would you be interested in Microsoft or Xbox making their own Steam Deck-like handheld with a custom Windows OS for gaming? 53% say no, 47% say yes. So the idea of having Windows for the OS obviously is for compatibility reasons. Everything in terms of PC gaming is targeted at Windows first, and that's just because that's what the vast majority of gamers use. Steam Deck, though, has been getting much more interest and compatibility for SteamOS and Linux and all that. So that's been really cool to see. But I'd be interested to see what Microsoft could come up with. They have enough in terms of money for R&D and all of that, and could they come out with something that maybe at least competes a bit with Steam Deck? The fact that the ROG Ally is going to apparently perform better, and it's smaller and all of this in terms of its form factor, might just make Valve have to push a bit harder for that next Steam Deck. So I don't mind. I say bring all the competition possible. And yes, that would include Microsoft. Let's see what they come up with. And we'll finish up with the comment of the day, as you're seeing here. This is from Paul saying, I honestly can't tell the difference in fidelity between most performance and quality modes, but the difference between 30 and 60 FPS is huge. It's definitely noticeable for frame rate when you go from one to the other. I feel like, I guess if you stay in fidelity the entire time, never toggle to performance, maybe you'll just be used to it and you won't know how much smoother the game could be. And I'll admit, with Horizon Forbidden West, when I changed to performance, there was noticeable shimmering. But I'd say for the vast majority of these games, they already look good enough. I get you might have ray tracing in fidelity mode. Maybe the resolution is 4K locked rather than fluctuating all over the place. I just feel like the diminishing return factor has really been creeping up on us more and more as the generation with the PS4 Pro and the Xbox One X was ongoing, but definitely now with the PS5 and the Xbox Series. So I'm completely on the side of higher frame rates. 60 seems to be the sweet spot, because when you go to 120, there is a lot of sacrificing when it comes to visuals, but it's just 60 FPS is expected almost, especially for a shooter, a fighting game, a racing game. If you don't have a 60 FPS mode, I think you're gonna be in trouble with some of these announcements. And ladies and gentlemen, that's gonna do it here for Newswave. If you enjoyed this video, guys, hit that like button. If not, hit the dislike. Leave comments down below about everything we talked about here today. Where's The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom? After that 3-minute trailer yesterday, where's your hype level for that May 12th release? And then also Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League coming out February 2024. Is that a longer delay than you were expecting? And Microsoft, would you like to see them attempt a Windows-based gaming handheld? Thanks guys for watching. Have a great weekend. I'll see you Monday morning, 8 a.m. Eastern Time for Newswave.